Retro Gamers, and Tyler here from RetroGamesCollector.com, and I've decided to do a video on changing out the, removing the battery from an Amiga 500 Plus. It's an important thing to do if you've got an Amiga 500 and you 500 Plus and you have not looked at the motherboard yet. I would suggest that you do so immediately. The batteries can leak, and well, not can, they will leak. There's just no doubt about that. It's just a matter of time. And a lot of them have already leaked, and they will damage the motherboard. In fact, they will just eat through the motherboard. Yeah, the alkaline in the batteries literally strong enough to eat through the tracks and eventually right through the motherboard. So it is important that you check it out. Now, for those who are a bit squeamish about opening up their Amigas and messing around inside, that's what this video is for, just to show you how easy it is. It's not a difficult thing to do. You just need to be brave enough just to get your screwdrivers out and have a go. For this, I mean, you don't need all of these tools, but these are the tools I'm using. Long nose pliers, large snips, small snips, a crosshead screwdriver. This one's a Phillips. A flathead screwdriver, quite a small one, because that's just to lift the tabs up inside the machine, and some pliers. Any pliers will do. These are quite long ones, but you know, that's just basically to grab hold of the battery and take it off the board. So I'll pop all the tools to one side for now, and we'll get to opening the case. On the Amiga 500 Plus, dead easy, turn it over. Now, I did say you need a Phillips screwdriver. You may well need a T10 driver. Some A500 Pluses were fitted with Torx screws instead of Phillips head screws, so you may well need a Torx driver instead of a crosshead. But you just have to check your own A500 Plus to figure that out. So I'm using one with a magnetised head because I just find it easier just to pull the screws out once I've loosened them. Any will do. Now, you've got 6 screws on the case. 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6 up there. So first thing to do is just get those out. There's your first screw out, and that's why I use a magnetised screwdriver. Just pop all these to one side for now. Flip this round. Okay, those 6 screws removed. Flip your Amiga back over. Now, it's also held with 2 clips, inside clips here, so the case clips together. Don't ever try and pull the case apart from the bottom. It will crack here and here if you're not careful. Always unclip your case by grabbing the top. So start with the left, unclip it. Just you have to pull a little bit harder than you would imagine that you've got to pull. It does feel a little bit too much, but trust me, if you pull just the left hand side from somewhere around there, it will unclip, and then from then you can just unclip the side quite easily and then put that one side. Now next thing to do is to remove the keyboard. The keyboard just sits on here, basically. It sits in these little sort of like tabs here, so it just slides under those tabs and just sits there. Nothing else holding it in apart from the connector itself. So grab the connector quite near to its base. I'll just show you. It just attaches to the motherboard there. Just grab it near to the base, give it a wiggle, comes out dead easy. Then you can just remove the keyboard. Super duper easy. They really did make them quite easy to disassemble. Now you've got this metal shielding on. This is held in place by 1, 2, 3, 4 screws and 1, 2, 3, 4 tabs. Now the tabs just hold the shielding that's underneath to the shielding that's on top. So I'll get the screws out first. Excuse me. And all the screws for this and the outer case, if you've got screws and not Torx screws, if you've got crosshead screws, sorry, and not Torx screws, they will all be the same. So that's the 4 screws out. This will be in a second. This one does not want to come out for some reason. Let's just grab it. Okay. And now you've got the 4 tabs to bend up. Now these need to be bent up vertically, so just get your flathead screwdriver underneath them and just bend them up like that. If they do bend awkwardly, i.e. if there's a little bit of a kink in them, the top shielding won't come off, and that's when your long nose pliers come in, just to straighten the tab out if necessary. Yeah, they all need to be straight as possible for you to be able to lift the shielding off. Otherwise, it won't budge. And there you go, shielding off. Pop that up one side. Clang. And now you've got access to a potentially leaky battery. This one has literally only just started leaking, so I'm lucky with this one. No damage done from what I can see. So now I've got to get to removing the battery. Now I've seen a lot of videos where they literally just put pliers on, and I have done it myself, and they rock it backwards and forwards until it breaks off. I'm not going to advocate doing that because you could damage the board. I used to do that, but in my old age I've started looking after things a bit better now. Frankly, if you're going to be ripping it off the board, you are in danger of lifting tracks, etc. So I'm not going to be advocating that. What I will say to you is get yourself some snips, large and small if possible. Small will just do the job, large makes the job easier. Now the negative end of the battery, ooh, I've got some gunk on my fingers. Negative end of the battery is where we'll start, because that's got the smallest connector to the board, and basically just snip it, get in there if you can. There's not a lot of room, so you'll have to snip it bit by bit. Clink. Once you've done that bit, you can now bend the battery up to get to the other end and do the same with that. Being careful not to damage the board, obviously. But I think this is a much better way of doing it, frankly, than just yanking it off the board. If you can snip it off, good for you. There's not a lot holding them on, in all fairness. I mean, the absolute best way of doing this, and there you go, it's off. The absolute best way of doing this would be, or ideally, to get the motherboard out and desolder it. But really, there's no need to go to the lengths of getting the motherboard out. They do come out fairly easily. This one has literally only just started, after all those years, it's literally only just started to leak. There's no damage whatsoever on the motherboard from what I can see. I'll show you this. So that was where the, show you with this, that's where the battery was. And there's absolutely nothing there. So I've dropped lucky with this one. Could have been a lot worse. I've seen them where they've eaten into, well, as you can see under there are tracks there underneath that battery. And it's only got to eat into those tracks, and something somewhere is not going to work on your Amiga any longer. So I've dropped really lucky there. Now reassembly is, I'm just going to move the camera over a second. Reassembly is the reversal of disassembly, obviously, but what I will say is there's this little piece of shielding here which often sort of falls to one side or whatever and won't get reconnected. That has got to be in place over the holes when you replace the shielding. So remember, the shielding goes around the shielding that's already there, the bottom shielding, because these tabs have got to fit in through the holes. It is a bit fiddly. That tab's gone in nicely. That tab's gone in. Oh, there you go. All the tabs are in. And this is where this bit here has got to line up underneath the top shielding, so you can put the screw right the way through both at once. So just make sure those are lined up. And then it's a case of popping all 4 screws back in, bending your tabs back over, 4 tabs, sliding your keyboard back in, plugging your keyboard back in, popping your top case back on. And that is all fully reassembled with no pesky battery to ruin your gaming fun. What I will say is that if the battery has done a lot of damage to your board, or if you see electrolyte spilt onto your board, the best way of cleaning it up, it is most likely going to be alkaline. So you don't want to be cleaning it with anything. Try and clean it up with something acidic, like lemon juice or vinegar. So get vinegar on some Q-tips or cotton buds, and give it a wipe over. That will neutralise the alkaline and clean the board up. Once you've cleaned it up with something slightly acidic, you can then give it a wipe over with isopropyl alcohol after to clean any residue up, and hopefully your Amiga will be fit to carry on fighting for another 30 years. So thank you very much for watching this how-to video. Hope it helps. Please like, subscribe, hit that notifications button if you want to see more from me, and until my next video, see you guys later. Bye.